Quarterback Sam Bradford has taken the Rams from 1-15 to the top of the division. Today, he faces the two-time NFC West champion Arizona Cardinals. It's the NFL on Fox. St. Louis at 5-6 up against the Arizona Cardinals with a record of 3-8. Hi, I'm Chris Myers, and glad you're with us for one of the great turnaround stories in the NFL this year. The Rams are in first, and yes, legitimate playoff contenders. The Cardinals trying to end a 6-game losing streak. So who better to watch a Ram-Cardinal game with than this guy? He took both franchises to their greatest heights, leading the St. Louis Rams to a Super Bowl title. And then Kurt Warner put the Cardinals on the national map, leading Arizona into a Super Bowl against the Steelers. And Kurt is here with us to call today's game. Nice to see you. No matter where your heart is, you can't lose today.
Well, it's excited to be back in this building, to be covering these two teams that were so instrumental in my career.
And instrumental is what Sam Bradford has been for the Rams. What impresses you most about him?
Well, there's a newfound excitement in St. Louis about Sam Bradford, and we know that it starts with what he's done on the field. But I think the thing that's been most impressive to his teammates is the attitude he brings off the field. We were talking to him this week, and I asked him, are you surprised at the success you've had as a rookie quarterback? And of course he said no to us very quickly, but then he made sure he clarified that he's not a rookie quarterback anymore. As soon as Coach Spagnuolo told him that he was a starting quarterback, he dropped the rookie label and he said, I'm a starting quarterback for an NFL football team, and I expect to perform that way.
Meanwhile, the Cardinals in this losing skid minus Kurt Warner. A lot of questions, Kurt. Where do they turn for answers?
Well, Coach Wisenhunt told us the most frustrating thing about this season is that his best players have not played their best football. He said the work ethic is there, the focus is there, the practices are there, but it hasn't translated onto the field. He said if we're going to get back on track today against the Rams, those players have to play their best football.
We're ready to go. The opening kickoff, game 12 for both of these teams, and the roof is open here at University of Phoenix Stadium because temperatures in the mid-70s. It's sunny, a few clouds in the area, but ideal conditions to slide the thing open. As Ken Wisenhunt in his fourth year as the head coach, and look at that record going against the Rams, and he'll be leaning on that today. And Steve Spagnuolo in his second year has brought a physical, aggressive style of play to this division and to this St. Louis team. Josh Brown will be kicking off, and LaRod Stevens howling is deep. The Cardinals won the toss and wanted the football first, and this has been one of the more positive things for the Cardinals this year. Their special teams play and the return game from LaRod Stevens howling, in game 12 for the Rams and Cardinals underway. Stevens howling just short of the 30-yard line, where Derek Anderson will lead the Cardinals offense and try and help them snap out of things.
And they're talking about the best players playing big in these kind of games. So we really need Larry Fitzgerald in this game to come out, to establish himself early. So look to them to try to get the ball to him very early in this game.
And an offensive line that would like to help them run the ball more. The Cardinals have thrown the ball 75% of the time. That's more than any team in the league, and they haven't done it all that well. Tim Hightower starts in the backfield. We'll see plenty of Beanie Wells on 1st and 10. Rams threaten blitz. Anderson to throw. Has Fitzgerald. First down, Cardinals at the 45. 97th consecutive game with a catch for Larry Fitzgerald. Meanwhile, this Ram defense loves to put pressure on the quarterback.
They do. We've got to keep an eye on Chris Long today. He's really playing the best football of his career. 6 sacks in the last 6 games. Love to put pressure on the quarterback. We've got to keep our eye on him today.
Dave Vobora, the 4th different starting linebacker at the will spot. And in the secondary, watch Oshimago Atagwe from the free safety spot blitzing the quarterback. LaRod Stevens howling, checks it at running back on 1st and 10. Quick pass is batted down, intended for Larry Fitzgerald.
Well, we know that Coach Spagnuolo loves to bring pressure. You see on the first play, he brought Atagwe from a safety blitz. On this play, he brings Ron Bartell from the corner spot, trying to give a bunch of different looks. Bartell does a great job of jumping up and batting the ball down, but that's something they wanted to do all day today, was bring pressure, give a bunch of different looks to Derek Anderson, try to confuse him.
Secondary without Jerome Murphy, a hamstring injury. He's inactive, so the corners, the secondary just a little bit thin numbers-wise on 2nd and 10. First run of the game. Hightower to the 35 of the Rams.
And the Cardinals love to spread out the defense and run plays just like this. Spread them out, focus on the receivers. Just a little quick trap play to Tim Hightower. Huge hole up the middle. Does a great job of finishing it off there.
There were 6 defensive backs in for the Rams on that play, and Derek Anderson obviously took advantage. Fitzgerald splits out to the right. An impressive opening drive for the Cardinals coming off the embarrassment of Monday night. Time for Anderson, complete to Fitzgerald. Down there another first down, and Bartell was covering.
And we knew one of the focuses coming in was get the ball to your playmakers. Allow those players to change the complexion of a game. See just a little quick sprint out here by Derek Anderson. Larry Fitzgerald on the edge. Just a little quick stop route, 8 yards. Nice timing by Derek Anderson, but getting the ball into Larry Fitzgerald's hands early is going to be a key for the Cardinals.
An 11-yard pickup and a first down, and yes, the Cardinals talked about the entire team. The defense, the special teams is energized when Larry gets the football early. Hand off Hightower, and the Rams this time. James Laurinaitis, the team's leading tackler, with 86 coming in, make it 87 with the stop and the first cooling off of this Arizona offense on this opening drive.
And this drive is important for the Cardinals. One of the things that they've struggled with all year long, and specifically in this last 6-game streak, was scoring early in the game, really getting the momentum on their side of the ball. And so it's great that they've come out, worked the ball down the field, put a good drive together here early in this football game.
So Larry Fitzgerald is on the right side. Steve Breston, who had a big game opening week against the Rams, comes in a little bit on the left. Hightower remains the back, and he gets the football, and the Rams are there. Craig Dahl coming up from his safety spot, making the play, forcing a third down.
And you see Craig Dahl comes down in a blitz type look. They bring Steve Breston down into the corner of the screen to try to block him. He does a great job of running through the block and tripping up Tim Hightower in the backfield.
4 wide receivers, 6 defensive backs from the 27-yard line on third down. Opening drive for the Cardinals, and Derek Anderson hoping they can get some points. Pressure. Anderson will keep on the run. Throws for Fitzgerald, incomplete. And excellent coverage by Ron Bartell. It'll be fourth down, and Jay Feely trots out for a field goal attempt.
And you've seen in this first drive, the St. Louis Rams have really come with a number of different looks. In this situation, they stand up a couple of their defensive linemen. They bring the safety off the edge, really trying to give a bunch of different looks to Derek Anderson, trying to confuse him at the line of scrimmage. Jay
Feely has hit his last 12 field goals. Steve Spagnuolo's defense forces the attempt of 45 yards. The kick is good. The Cardinals score first in front of a sold-out crowd. They lead the Rams 3-0. Here in the desert, it's no mirage. Derek Anderson on the opening drive leads the Cardinals into field goal range, and Jay Feely hits. So the Cards have the 3-0 lead, and Danny Amendola back to return. Also the leading receiver on this Ram team as Feely gets ready to kick it off. And it is Danny Amendola. Penalty flag as he is horse-collared, or at least rung around the neck as he crosses the 20-yard line. Cleet Blakeman is our referee today.
During the return, personal foul, grabbing the face mask. It's the kicking team, number 52. 15-yard penalty will be added at the end of the run. First down.
They'll tack it on to the return by Amendola. We'll get a look at Sam Bradford and the Ram offense in just a moment.
It's time.
Cardinals 3-0 lead as Sam Bradford, the first overall pick in the NFL draft, gets his first shot at the Arizona defense today from the shotgun across the 35-yard line. On on the move. Bradford's going to keep and go out of bounds.
That's one of the things that Sam said is probably his greatest strength, is being able to move and extend the play. That a lot of people don't expect it from him, that he's got good accurate arm, big arm, but they don't expect him to be able to move like he can. 17
touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, and Danny Amendola, the third receiver, but out there quite a bit. And a little bit of a hurry-up pace here to start things with Daniel Fells, the tight end, in motion and in the backfield. And Steven Jackson gets the carry and gets across the 40-yard line. It'll bring up third down. On defense, the Cardinals a little bit beat up. Calais Campbell is active, helping to put some pressure up front with an ankle injury, but not starting.
And Darnell Dockett is the heart and soul of this defense. He's been banged up with a shoulder injury. Needs to really come up big today to be able to stop Steven Jackson in this Rams offense.
And in the secondary, Adrian Wilson had a big game in the opener against the Rams with 2 interceptions and a blocked kick. And already we have a timeout called. The Cardinals called timeout. The Rams facing third down. We'll check it out in just a moment. Cardinals use the timeout.
Yeah, they were in a little bit of a no-huddle offense. The Rams, something that they wanted to come into this game and use. And there's a little confusion on the defensive side. They had an extra guy on the field, had to call a quick timeout there.
On 3rd and 5. Adrian Wilson's coming. And almost intercepted. Michael Adams was in position, and Adrian Wilson was in the face of Sam Bradford.
One of the things the Cardinals love to do is use Adrian Wilson on the blitz. So you see him right here, just timing it up. He gets a free run at Sam Bradford. He's got to get the ball out quick, and Michael Adams does a great job on the edge. It's one of those things they want to try to hit Sam Bradford. Even if they don't get to him on a sack, they want to hit him and try to confuse him, knock him off rhythm a little bit like they did there with Adrian Wilson.
So Donnie Jones is back to punt for the Rams, and Andre Roberts, the return man, standing inside the 16-yard line of Arizona. Waved at the last minute for the fair catch at the 11-yard line. And that's where Derek Anderson of the Cardinal offense will take over, leading 3-0. It's almost as if the NFC West is upside down. The Cardinals at the bottom, the Rams at the top. Seattle is playing right now. The 49ers have already lost, and Sam Bradford and the Rams trying to get to 6-6 and maintain their hold. They own the tiebreaker at the moment on the Seahawks on 1st and 10. Hightower's been the back. We've yet to see Beanie Wells in action. Hightower the carry. Let's check in down on the field. We welcome Nichelle Turner. Hey, Nichelle.
Hey, guys. You know what? Larry Fitzgerald's having a very good game so far, but it's been a tough week for him. He lost his grandfather a couple days ago, and he attributes his stellar hand-eye coordination to his grandfather, who he is very close to. His grandfather was an eye doctor and gave him some eye coordination exercises when he was little. One of them he told me about real quick. He would lay in his bed in the complete dark, toss the football up in the air, and be able to catch it and focus in the dark. He says that has stayed with him. Those kind of things make him the player who he is today. Back to you.
And Larry is 3 catches away from being the all-time Cardinal reception leader on 2nd down 9. Derek Anderson to throw and completes right on cue to Larry Fitzgerald. Let's get a game break. See what's going on with Carolina. Seattle is Kurt Menefee.
Well, both Rams and Cardinal fans were like this. Mike Goodson on the opening possession for Carolina takes it in for a 6-yard score. Dougie and all. Panthers on top, 7-0 over the Seahawks. Chris and Kurt.
Back here, the Cardinals hope to spoil things for the upstart Rams, who are trying to win their 6th game of the year. And mathematically, Arizona's still in it, but they're saying, forget talking the division. We just want to win a quarter. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie has checked into the game. Penalty flag as Anderson goes deep. And another flag. It was intended for Rodgers-Cromartie, the defensive back in at receiver.
Well, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie is one of the fastest guys on the Cardinals team. A play that we've used in the past with Dominic. Obviously, they put it in here. Take a shot, see if they can sneak up on somebody and run by him.
Ron Bartel's been getting a workout so far in this game, affectionately known as DRC.
There are fouls against both teams on the play. Illegal motion, number 29 of the offense. Pass interference, defense. Those penalties offset The replay first down.
Rogers Cromartie not used to the offensive rules.
Exactly. I think he was running out there in motion. He started falling a little bit towards the line of scrimmage, which you can't do in motion. Threw the flag there, but fortunately they got the pass interference on the other end.
And Ron Bartell has been the target. Here's the look on the pass interference.
You see Bartell just using his body, running Dominic Rogers-Cromartie out of bounds, not giving him a chance to catch the ball. Easy call for the official.
All right, so the Rams, who blitz 50% of the time, may be bringing the heat on a fresh set of downs, so they offset first and 10. Hightower to the outside, Tim Hightower. Craig Dahl had to stop him from going a lot further. A 32-yard pickup for Tim Hightower.
And really a great block by Alan Faneca here as he pulls to the right, 66. Great block on the edge. Springs Tim Hightower, allows him to get around the edge and use his speed. Take it for a big play down the sideline.
So from the 40-yard line on first and 10, Beanie Wells now checks in as Hightower catches a breather. And he's off to a flying start. So getting Hightower and Fitzgerald involved is what the Cardinals wanted to do. Wells picks up 4.5.
And I love the combination of these two backs. You got Tim Hightower, who's probably the best all-around back on this team. Able to run, power runner, got speed, able to catch the ball out of the backfield. And they love to spell him with Beanie Wells, who's a downhill runner. Gives a spark to this offense every time he touches the ball.
And the problem was holding on to the football, fumbling, which hurt the running game and them getting into the game.
It's been a big problem for them over the last couple years. Something that they're continually trying to work on, but they're really excited about these two young guys and what they bring to the table.
So Wells stays in on second down. And two tight ends are in. Threat of pressure, and here they come. Anderson steps up in the pocket, throws. That's a nice catch made inside the 25-yard line. First grab of the day by Steve Breston, who's averaging 16 yards a catch.
You see that the Rams continuing to try to bring pressure. Great job by the offensive line here to give Derek Anderson some time in the pocket. Does a great job after the play fake, moving up, finding a little hole, stepping up and making a throw.
And just did get it in there, but it was Breston who said he wanted Derek to trust us. We don't have to be open to get the ball there.
Well, you saw that play right there. In traffic, Steve Breston does a great job of finding the ball and making a catch.
First and 10 for the Cardinals, hoping to add to a 3-0 lead. Second possession and on the move. Hightower with nowhere to go, so he spins and falls forward. And a Shimago Atagwe from his free safety spot making the play.
And we know the Rams love to bring the safety blitz. Probably bring the safety blitz more than anybody in football. You can barely see it down here on the bottom of the screen. Atagwe comes in on the blitz. He able to stay at home, clean up Tim Hightower on the backside edge. So they're doing some blitzing, not only just for the pass, but they like to bring the blitz, whether it's linebackers or safeties, to stop the run as well.
So far, the Cards have done a nice job of picking it up. Second and 11, Fitzgerald off to the left. Doucette is in with Steve Breston on the right. Anderson looks one way, comes back underneath, ball's in the air and incomplete. Threw a little behind Beanie Wells. It'll be 3rd and 11.
This is an area where the St. Louis Rams like to sit back a little bit more. They're a big pressure team between the 20s, but when you get in the red zone, they like to sit back and play coverage. Been one of the best teams in the league over the last few games at stopping people in the red zone.
Tim Hightower's carried the load on the ground. Fitzgerald has 3 catches. And balance is what the Cardinals have been able to throw out there against this Ram defense, maybe to keep the blitzing Rams on edge. Jason Wright checks in. Excellent receiver out of the backfield. And can pick up the pressure. Anderson a little bit high for Breston. So that brings up 4th down and another Jay Feely field goal opportunity.
You see another blitz there. One thing we talked about, the linebackers of the Rams, they love to blitz the quarterback. And what they like to do is they like to come up and hug the backs. They have the backs in man-to-man coverage. So they come looking like they're blitzing, knowing they've got coverage, trying to force the backs to stay in and block instead of going out in a route. And you see there, caused the pocket to push back in Derek Anderson's face, forcing him to make a high throw.
So Spagnuolo's defense the stop, a 41-yard field goal attempt and it gets through. So 2 drives, 2 field goals for the Cardinals, trying to end a 6-game losing skid. They lead it 6-0. Jay Feely reliable, 15 out of 16 so far this year in the field goal department, and a 65-yard drive, time-consuming drive, something the Rams offense has usually done against other teams.
And Feely's been a bright spot for them because they've struggled so much at getting the ball in the end zone that at least with each of these first 2 drives, they've struggled down towards the goal line, but they're still getting points, giving themselves an advantage here early in the game.
He has 14 touchbacks this year. Feely will try for another one. That's Danny Amendola from inside his 10. And room across the 30. Amendola, penalty, no penalty called. No flags on the field as Amendola gives Sam Bradford excellent field position. And Kurt, look at some #1 overall draft picks through the first 12 games of their rookie year. Those quarterbacks, the record, the touchdown, interception, and passer rating. And let's take a look at how Sam Bradford is matched up.
Well, we've heard a lot of people rave about Sam Bradford and what he's done. This gives you just an idea. You looked at, he's got a higher passer rating and a higher number of touchdowns than everybody on that list except Peyton Manning. It shows that he's in pretty good company, especially early in his career.
And more wins than any of those quarterbacks in the rookie year. Steven Jackson is loose. All the way down to the 45-yard line of Arizona. A 23-yard run.
This is the Rams' favorite play. It's a little stretch play. Allow Steven Jackson to get that big body moving. Allow him to cut where he sees the hole. And one of the problems that the Cardinals defense has had over the last 6 games is they're giving up about 150 yards rushing. So something the Rams wanted to establish early in the game. And they love the toughness of Steven Jackson. You see here, Kerry Rhodes trying to drag him down. Hard to drag a big body like that down with one hand.
So 22-yard run officially, and the pass complete to Brandon Gibson, knocked out in a hurry as Michael Adams on the coverage. I'm sure the Rams saw Monday night and what San Francisco did against this Arizona defense and said, man, we have Steven Jackson. We should be able to run all over these guys.
Well, you know they want to get the ball to Steven Jackson. Anytime they can take the pressure off a young rookie quarterback, even though he's playing well, they want to get the ball to Steven Jackson as much as possible. So you watch a game like that, what the Cardinals have struggled with, you know they're going to be a downhill running team today.
2nd down 7 from the 44. Bradford with time. Pass, a nice catch inside the 30 by Gibson, who is the best route runner on this Ram team, according to Sam Bradford.
When he's just starting to get confidence, and the one thing about Sam is that he's got great timing with these receivers as he's been given the chance to work with them a little bit more. Work with the same guys in there that had a couple injuries early. Donnie Avery got hurt early in the season, Mark Clayton. So now he's been working with these guys a little bit, and you can watch his confidence that he lets the ball go. Even before Gibson comes out of it, does a great job of putting on his outside shoulder away from the defender.
A 1st down. You saw Greg Toller on the coverage. He's been bothered by a foot injury. He was not having a great year even before the injury, but Gibson has become a reliable receiver. The Rams are going to burn a
takes its first charge timeout.
So they have 2 remaining, as do the Arizona Cardinals. How important, and you've talked before about a team owning another team 8 straight times. The Cardinals have beaten the Rams. So regardless of the record here, there's Arizona confidence going against St. Louis, even though they're at the top of the division.
You're exactly right. You look at it from both teams' perspective, and the Rams come in saying, hey, this team has beaten us 8 straight times. They've owned the division the last couple of years. It's important for us to establish that we can beat this football team. On the other side of the ball, you have a team that's 3-8 and struggling, but they come in with the mindset, hey, we've got these guys' number, that we match up very well against this football team. They've struggled against us in the past. This is a great chance for us to get a little bit of our momentum, a little bit of our confidence back, and go beat the Rams one more time and say that we can at least own them in our division as we move forward in the season.
And Bradford trying to end that cycle. Of course, this is the first time that he's going to see an NFL defense for the 2nd time. In other words, the opening week, the Cardinals beat the Rams in St. Louis. On 1st and 10, they tucked it over. Denario Alexander, all 6'5" of the rookie. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
A big matchup in the NFC South. The Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Michael Turner, 5-yard touchdown run. Puts Atlanta up in the early going. 7-0. Of course, the Falcons right now, the #1 seed in the NFC, but still a long way to go. Chris and Kurt.
All right, thanks, Kurt. The Falcons with the best record in the NFC and trying to keep it that way. 6 defensive backs for the Cardinals on 2nd down, and they're going to run with Steven Jackson, who almost broke out of it.
Well, they love to spread the defense out as well. Sam's getting more comfortable in the offense. He said they're starting to do more things with the offense, whether it be the no huddle, spreading out, expanding what they can do. And they love to do that, put Steven Jackson in the backfield by himself, a little downhill run, get a few guys out of the box and let him use his big body running between those tackles.
So the crowd coming to life. Dick Pearl, the quarterback coach, hopes his rookie can deliver on 3rd and 3. Bradford, incomplete. The Cardinals force the drive to stall. The pass intended for Danny Amendola.
You see that the Rams are going to try to use that athleticism. They don't want Sam sitting back there and getting hit on every snap with that pressure coming. They're going to move him out of the pocket, use that athleticism a little bit. And you look at that play and you say, well, that's a negative play, Chris. But the great thing is that Sam Bradford does a tremendous job when he doesn't have a play there to be made. He extends it as much as he can, then he's able to throw the ball away and allow them to line up again.
So Sam looks on as Josh Brown tries a 40-yard field goal. There are penalty flags down in the end zone. The kick is good. We'll find out what the call, because if they only needed 3, it would be a first down. If it's a 5-yard penalty, that would be against the Cardinals.
– 12 men on defense. That 5-yard penalty is enough for a first down.
So too many men on the field for the Cardinals, and Ken Wisenhunt's team is going to suffer a 5-yard penalty and give Sam Bradford the football back.
Let's take a look here. See 12 across the board. Trying to hide a few guys inside, see if they could get a block on the play, but they were caught by the stripes.
Counting with Kurt Warner on the next Sesame Street. Steven Jackson carries straight ahead. And boy, when you're trying to end a losing skid, you're going like the Cardinals. Your defense does its job against a hot quarterback. That's the last thing you want happening.
And one thing we heard the Cardinals talk about this week is that doubt starts to creep in a little bit. When you have things go against you, like a play like that where you stop them, you make them kick a field goal, and then you have a penalty like that, and you start wondering, can we overcome these things? And so it's going to be interesting to see early that they've made a couple mistakes. Are they going to be able to overcome that against this good Ram football team?
6 defensive backs on 2nd and 9. Bradford fakes, keeps, throws, and completes to Daniel Fells, his tight end, short of the first down. You talk about the confidence. It was Steven Jackson who went the other way, saying, we're not the same old Rams with Sam Bradford. We were down 10-0 against the Rams. We think we can come back and win.
We said that was one of the biggest things last year. As soon as something went against them, they got that feeling of, the same old Rams. Here we go again. We're not going to be able to overcome that. But even with the young leadership that they have on this football team, they believe that they can overcome things. They lost a lead last week against Denver. Their defense had to step up and make the play, and were able to get that victory. It's things like that they've done this year that they haven't done in the past that's put them in first place in the division.
3rd down and 3 for Alexander. Incomplete. Greg Toller was covering, and Steven Jackson hopping around, upset about something, but it'll force a field goal try from Josh Brown.
And Alexander gives them that big body that they like to throw the ball up to, throw the ball down the field with. They haven't had much of a deep threat or that big body threat up to this point in the season. So it's nice to have Alexander back in the lineup. Sam feels very comfortable taking those one-on-one shots with him.
Josh Brown, who made one before the penalty took it off the board, will now, that was from 40, try a 28-yarder. And it was problems getting another player off the field, and the Cardinals had to burn a timeout.
Arizona takes its
Amazingly
second
enough, after just having 12 men on the field, they've got to call another timeout to make sure that they don't get another penalty and put the Rams back on the field again.
It looked like they were short a man, and Paris Lennon was running. Let's take a look. And you count again for us, Kurt?
Well, you see the confusion down here on the end as we count up the guys here. And then there's one guy just running off the field over here. So it's just 11 guys, but it was like confusion on who was supposed to be on the field, who wasn't. I think it's the third time in the game so far that we've seen them having problems getting guys on and off the field.
And Ken Wisenhunt said, you know, his team has practiced well during this losing streak. It's been on game day, and that's something that when you're going like this, you've got to get that part of the game right.
You're exactly right. He said that the practice, the effort has been there, the hard work has been there, but it hasn't translated, and I think we're seeing a little of that with the uncertainty here early in this game.
So Brown can get the Rams on the board from 28 yards out, and the kick is good. So a 6-3 Cardinal lead here in the first quarter. NASCAR season may be over, but Fox already revving up for another exciting year. February, the running of the Great American Race, a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl on Fox. It's the Daytona 500 from Daytona International Speedway. It's repaved. It'll be fast and furious. February only on Fox. And Jimmy Johnson, 5 straight championships. Kurt, imagine an NFL team winning 5 straight Super Bowls.
Anytime you're talking about 5 straight of anything, it's impressive. And Jimmy Johnson has been the model of consistency in NASCAR for a number of years, and it's fun to know that he's going to be up there again, have another chance to win a title.
NASCAR on Fox, and the NFL on Fox with Kurt Warner, Chris Myers. Hope you're enjoying another broadcast as Sam Bradford, the rookie from Oklahoma, coming off an amazing game. Kurt, I was impressed that for the first time in NFL history, a quarterback had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a win on the road. Bradford finally did that last week in Denver.
Well, because of all the impressive things that he's done, he's going to continue to set marks like that throughout his career, and especially throughout this year, that he's sitting up there atop the rookie categories from a passing standpoint all the way across the board. And I just think every time he goes out there, he's got a chance to do something else that somebody's never done, and he's been that impressive this early in his career. 4 out of 7 so far. Brown to kick it to Laurent Stevens-Howling in his own end zone. He's coming out, slips short, stopped at the 15-yard line. Rough field position for Derek Anderson and Larry Fitzgerald, his go-to guy. When you see that, it was a conscious effort in this game to come out and make sure they threw the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. Even if you're not completing every ball, you want to make sure that you're throwing the ball at him, you're giving him chances to make those big plays, because up to this point in the season, they haven't got very many of those big plays, and they're going to start winning games and get on a roll. It's going to have to go through number 11. And he is 1 catch away from tying Anquan Boldin for the all-time reception leader. 2 from setting the mark as Beanie Wells checks to the backfield. 3 catches in the game for Fitzgerald so far. 1st and 10. That's Preston in motion. And Wells has room. The former Buckeye across the 30. So Beanie Wells with a 16-yard run, and the Cardinals will let the clock run out in this opening quarter. 2 impressive drives for a couple of field goals. And that's the end of the first quarter. With a score of the Cardinals 6, the Rams 3. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Sold Out Arizona, our armchair quarterback was a quarterback for both these teams. Kurt Warner up in the booth. Chris Myers, glad you're watching the Rams at Cardinals. On 1st and 10, and the whistle blows as we go to start the first quarter. Let's find out, there's a penalty flag down at the 30-yard line.
There is no foul on the play. 1st down.
So we don't just disregard the flag. And Derek Anderson so far in the game, a comfortable start. 4 out of 8, no turnovers. Cardinals have run the ball well. 2 lengthy drives leading to field goals. So 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. The only problems for the Cardinals special teams units getting out for field goals. Wells is in the backfield. Wells carries. Let's check in on the Cowboys and Colts. And Kurt Menefee has a game break.
Peyton Manning having his worst statistical season since his rookie year. Today against the Cowboys, gets picked off easily by Orlando Scandrick. 40 yards later, it's a touchdown. 9th interception that Manning has thrown in the last 3 games. 3 returned for scores. 17-0 Dallas leads in Indy in the second quarter. Chris and Kirk.
Rare to see the Cowboys playing the role of the spoiler.
Well, it is rare, but you expected that they could do that down the stretch against some of these potential playoff teams, as talented as they are, that if they got on a roll, they could knock some people out of the playoffs. They're making a good effort today against Indianapolis.
On 2nd and 6, Anderson hesitates and throws low and incomplete. You know, much was made of his grin on Monday night in a blowout loss that was captured during a break and then replayed. And he talked to you about that after practice on Friday.
He did. We asked him really what happened in that scenario, and he said that obviously things weren't going very well for him on Monday night. Number of boos coming from the stands, and he sat down next to Deuce, and they were actually talking about a play. Deuce Latui, about a play that they'd mixed up a little bit on the field, and so they were talking about it. And then Deuce decided that he was going to just make a little bit of a joke. There was somebody heckling Derek from the stands, so he made a little bit of a joke about kind of loosen up the mood. Little smile from Derek that got, I believe, blown out of proportion this week.
Anderson's throw off the hands and incomplete on 3rd down, intended for Breston. He said that the teammates got his back, and in a sense they rallied around him, and it bonded him and the offensive and the entire team a little bit.
Well, I think Coach Wisenhunt would have liked him to handle the press conference a little bit different, but I think his teammates saw from that press conference and a little bit of a blowout, they saw his passion. They saw, you know, the fervor that he has for this team and for his job, and I think his players and his teammates rallied around him a little bit this week, and it brought them closer together.
The Graham punt, and Amendola back inside the 15 of St. Louis. Danny has some room down the sideline. Graham, the punter, is going to have to run him out of bounds, and does, up near midfield. A spectacular return sets up the Ram offense as they trail 6-3. Derek Anderson going over the plays as his counterpart, the rookie Sam Bradford, at the Arizona 49, has a 1st and 10. Excellent field position.
Excellent field position, and they've done a good job, I think, up to this point in the game, trying to feel out the Cardinals defense, trying to establish the run because of the success that's been had against the Cardinal defense up to this point. Move Sam Bradford out of the pocket a little bit. Sure, they're going to settle into what they really want to do to attack him here as they move into the second quarter.
Steven Jackson has had 1 run broken loose. He's only carried it 4 times. Jackson will get another carry. And a healthy gain down to the 40-yard line before Adrian Wilson drags him down. It'll bring up 2nd down and 1.
And we knew that they were going to try to get the ball into Steven Jackson's hands, that he's still the workhorse for this team. We talked to him yesterday. He said he feels better now in December than he's ever felt in his career. And so they know that they can ride him for a while. They have to be able to run the football down the stretch and into the playoffs if they make it. So something that I think we're going to see a steady diet of if they're having success today.
He's added 5 pounds, and the touches are down a little bit, so he'll be healthy in December, or healthier. This time the Cardinals swarm and stop him, and it looks like it'll be 3rd and short.
And Gerald Hayes is the guy that they've missed his leadership. You see him right here. He was on the PUP list for the first 6 games, just starting to get back into the feel of the game. He does a great job on the run through there. Slowing Steven Jackson up, doesn't make the tackle, but allows his team to rally around him to make it. But he's a guy that they need from a leadership standpoint that just feels like he's getting better and better every week.
3rd down and 1. And Kenneth Darby gets the inside handoff and the 1st down to quiet the crowd. He's the backup, of course, to Steven Jackson. And for Sam Bradford, who has thrown as much as he has, that's amazing too. In 6 games, he's only thrown 1 interception.
Been extremely impressive, and I actually talked to the offensive line coach, who was disappointed that the 1 interception that he's had was on a shovel pass where the guard actually got pushed back into his receiver, and it ended up getting intercepted by a linebacker.
Bradford to throw, and just kind of got rid of that when it took a hit.
So it's been impressive what he's done over these 6 games, is that he doesn't make bad decisions. You saw it again there, that he makes his reads, gets the ball out of his hands quick, but if something's not there, he's happy to just throw the ball away, take a sack, not put his team in difficult situations and try to force balls in there.
And that number 50 was rookie O'Brien Schofield, who's only had really 5 weeks of practice, coming off a knee injury, and will come in at linebacker to help Joey Porter and Clark Higgins. 2nd and 10, Jackson carries. It'll bring up 3rd down as he gets near the 35-yard line, and Kerry Rhodes made the stop. Now, what can we expect here on 3rd and about 5 or 6?
You see the Rams trying to establish the run. They want to try to keep themselves out of these 3rd and long situations where there's more of an aptitude to try to force the ball in there. But they're feeling very comfortable in their 3rd down situations. Amendola is a guy that Bradford loves to go to in 3rd down situations. Number 3 in the league on 3rd down receptions. So they love to try to get the ball into his hands if they can.
And Kenneth Darby is in on 3rd down. Here comes pressure. Bradford throws, completes to Darby, but way short of the 1st down. Smothered at the 35, and Darnell Dockett was there. Bit of a conservative call on 3rd down.
Well, and that's something that Sam Bradford does well. We talked to him last night. He understands that he can let his defense win games for him, that he doesn't have to come out here in his 1st year and win all of these games. So he's happy to take a check down, throw the ball away, line up and do it again because he feels confident in his guys around him, which is something rare for a guy that tries to continue to make plays and extend plays with his feet and with his arm.
And the Rams are going to try a 52-yard field goal. Josh Brown has made a 53-yarder this year. The kick, it's up there, it's out there, and it's good. So Josh Brown on a lengthy boot ties things in Arizona. Rams and Cards. It's 6-0.
I like
Sam Bradford leading the Rams into position for the 52-yard Josh Brown field goal. And the Rams came in tied for 1st place in the NFC West, but owning the top spot because they beat Seattle earlier in the year. The Seahawks are losing 14-0 to Carolina at home. The Rams close out the regular season on the road up in Seattle. But they hope to take care of business here, battling back to tie, as LaRod Stevens-Howling is ready to take the kick. LaRod Stevens-Howling up to the 29-yard line, where the Cardinal offense will take over. Hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox from Arizona. In Glendale, Arizona, Ron Bartell with a stinger, so he's out of the lineup for right now. Quincy Butler comes in at the corner spot on one side, Bradley Fletcher on the other. Will Derek Anderson take advantage as Beanie Wells is in and Preston's in motion? Looked like a Ram jumped. Anderson was hit as he threw it, but coming back to the football is Preston. And he's still going.
And really a smart play there by Derek Anderson. I think he knew that he got the Rams to jump offside, knew he had a free play, took a peek backside at Larry Fitzgerald, and then kind of forced one in between 2 defenders to Steve Breston. But I think he knew that he had a free play. He was able to get away with this one.
Now, Kurt, if you know that Bartell is out, it looked like they were picking on Bartell to start the game, as they'll decline the penalty. Do you still work on Quincy Butler, who had been with the Rams and then was re-signed?
You see Steve Breston here. He's got 2 defenders on him.
And that's Butler, 36.
But like I said, with the penalty, knowing you have a free play, you try to force one in there and try to get the big play, which they were able to come up with.
Hightower checks in. Rams threaten blitz from the 45. Anderson underneath, and Hightower can't hold on to the football. So it's incomplete. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
More good news for the Rams and Cards. Carolina's Jonathan Stewart with a 3-yard touchdown run puts the Carolina Panthers on top of Seattle 14-0 midway through the 2nd quarter. Chris and Kurt.
Second down 10. Beanie Wells is in from the 45. Anderson falls down. Call it a sack for the Rams. And Fred Robbins, the former Giant who has been at it along with James Hall in the last couple of years, making the play.
And you watch Freddie Robbins with a great push right up the gut. They've been really excited about the leadership that he's brought to the team. A veteran guy, hard-working guy. They love his effort. Pretty easy sack in that situation. Missed block up front, but they're really excited about what he brings to the table and the leadership he's brought to this young football team.
31 sacks coming in for this Ram defense. So now it's 3rd and 17. What looked like a promising drive. A drop by Hightower, a sack, and here you are. Anderson has time. Underneath, incomplete for Roberts. And that'll bring up a punting situation on 4th down.
They're really trying to establish a pass. I believe that the Cardinals think they've got some great matchups with those corners. Now with Bartell going down, I believe they're going to continue to try to throw the football down the field. It's unfortunate they just can't have negative plays like that set them back and stop drives that look so promising at the beginning.
Derek Anderson, no doubt in Ken Wisenhunt's mind even after Monday night that he was going to be the quarterback. Already benched once this year, reinserted in the lineup as the starter. Max Hall the backup as Danny Amendola, and that's how he likes it pronounced, by the way, Amendola. He said, people call me Amendola, I don't mind, but in our family we like it Amendola. Former Texas Tech star who was brought on as a return man and has been a go-to receiver for the Rams. And Graham pretty good at dropping the ball in. No fair catch. And Danny squeezes up across the 25-yard line, where Sam Bradford and the Ram offense will take over after Derek Anderson and the Cardinals storm. It's the first ever American Country Awards, hosted by Trace Adkins, with over 15 performances from country music's biggest stars. The only country music awards show where you vote the winner. The American Country Awards, live tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on Fox. And the Rams trying to get to 500, maintain their lead atop the NFC West with 1st and 10. Bradford gets rid of it, incomplete, dropped by Billy Benjamin.
Something that the Rams love to do is they love to do the play action, the drop passes, and bring the receivers across the field and sneak the tight ends back underneath. They've had a couple touchdown passes with that this year. It's an easy outlet for Sam Bradford.
The quarterback comparison here, but quickly Bradford to the line, and again that hurry up pace, whether you want to call it no huddle, that worked well against Denver. They go to here. Jackson is brought down in a hurry, and that is an excellent tackle by Alan Branch, who lets everybody know about it.
It's a great job by Alan Branch. He's a guy that's played better over the last couple years, with Calais Campbell being down and out a little bit. You see him here on the backside, getting off on the snap really well, splitting the defenders, does a great job of chasing Steven Jackson down from the backside.
So an important 3rd down early given the pace of this game, and Sam Bradford needs 10. The crowd wants a stop. And they got him. Sam Bradford goes down. Kerry Rose in from the safety spot.
When one thing defense coordinator Billy Davis told us is that he wanted to get after Sam Bradford. He wanted to bring a number of different blitzes. You can see in this look here that he was given the blitz look from both sides. He's got Adrian Wilson down on this side. He's got an overload on this side, trying to confuse the offensive line, confuse Bradford a little bit, get him to hold the ball just a little bit longer. They do a great job of staying in their lanes there, and Sam really didn't have a chance to look down the field and make a play.
Bill Davis, the much maligned defensive coordinator this year, with the Arizona Cardinals taking some heat for the way things have gone. Hoping his guys can snap out of it as Roberts takes the punt and fights hard to get across the 35-yard line. Fox Sports is proud to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They're doing great work every day, all the time, to help kids battle cancer. Please join us in the fight and donate now at stjude.org/Fox Sports. So tied at 6. 7 minutes to go here in the first half. And Kurt, your thoughts so far, the pace of this game, field goals for each team?
Yeah, you know, I think both teams are excited about what they've done as far as moving the football, but disappointed from the fact that they can't finish off drives. It's been kind of the MO of both these teams is move the ball between the 20s, but they can't find ways to put the ball in the end zone. It's hurt both teams up to this point.
And Tim Hightower is loose. Another big run. And Tagway brings him down around the St. Louis 40. A 23-yard pickup.
One of the things the Cardinals wanted to do is come out and establish the run. It's a little stretch play to Tim Hightower here. Got a one-on-one situation on the outside. Bartell's not able to make the tackle. Gives Hightower the edge, and he just has to run from there.
So the biggest plays downfield. We haven't seen a lot of throws deep, but runs, and Tim Hightower has certainly done that with already 70-plus yards on 7 carries. 1st and 10. 6:20 to go and counting here before the first half. The Rams put everybody up on the line, and Hightower runs into it.
Well, and you see the response that Coach Spagnuolo takes to those big plays. He comes right back, brings another safety blitz, trying to stop the run, trying to make sure that they can make this team one-dimensional. I don't think they want this team to be able to run against them. They want to keep the ball in Derek Anderson's hands, make him throw the football, try to get a pass rush, try to get him to make a mistake.
The Shimago Atagwe, the free safety who often applies pressure. James Laurinaitis, leading tackler for this team. A couple of the leaders on defense. On 2nd down, Hightower remains in. Here comes pressure again, and a penalty flag, so he's got the free play. Anderson going deep for the end zone, incomplete. Preston was down there double covered.
Really another great job by Derek Anderson. Understanding that he's got a free play. Not a wide open receiver, but puts the ball out there for Steve Breaston to make a play.
Cleet Blakeman will check the call.
Offside. Defense, number 58. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
It's on linebacker David Vabora, the penalty, so a 5-yard pickup for the Cardinals.
And one of the things Steve Breaston was talking about all week was getting to the point where Derek Anderson will put the ball up and give them chances to make plays. You see Derek did a great job there of setting it right on top of Steve Breaston. Atagwe came over and created a little bit of interference, but that's a play that I've seen Steve Breaston make a million times.
2nd down 5 now after the penalty. Rolling out, throwing and completing to Jim Dre, the tight end, who had been injured earlier in the game, but walked away under his own power. That's a 6-yard pickup and a 1st down. How about moving Derek Anderson around him?
I think the Cardinals are doing a good job when you come out and establish the run like they've been able to. You see the last couple plays, a little play action, a little boot by Derek Anderson, allows him to free up and get some better shots down the field, a better look at what's going on down the field. So I think the Cardinals are doing a great job of mixing up the play calling at this point.
And James Laurinaitis hoping to create an uncomfortable pocket for Anderson. Not 1st and 10. They're in field goal range. The blitz is on. Hightower is trying to get away from it and goes down in the backfield. A major loss is Niall Diggs, one of those Ohio State linebackers, part of the Rams, with a 5-yard loss.
This is one of the plays that the Rams were worried about coming into the game, is a little action one direction, cut back to the other side. You see Diggs does a great job of getting Tim Hightower down in space. We've seen it a couple times where they've had him back in space. They haven't been able to make the tackle. It's turned into big runs. Great job by Diggs there to make that one-on-one tackle.
On 2nd and 15, Kurt, there are 4 wide receivers in. Fitzgerald coming in motion to the left side where there's 3 on one side. Pressure, and Hightower has the completion, stopped around the 31-yard line.
And that's another thing that the Cardinals are doing well. They're spreading the Rams out, trying to give them a bunch of different looks from a formation standpoint, putting 4 wide receivers out. We saw the nice run that they had earlier. This time spread them out against the pressure, try to throw a little screen behind them, just trying to change it up, do some quick hitting plays. Derek Anderson get the ball out of his hands, doesn't have to sit back there, take the hits or try to force anything down the field.
And now on 3rd and long, but you don't want to lose any ground here because at least you get a shot at a long field goal if you come up empty. Fitzgerald on the right with 2 other receivers. Anderson does have time for Fitzgerald. It's intercepted. Craig Dahl has it all the way across the Ram 30. And
just like you said, one of those situations where you don't want to make that kind of throw. That you don't have to make the big play in third down. Stay in manageable situation. Put your field goal kicker in a great situation to make a field goal. In this situation, just try to force one to Larry Fitzgerald. Just runs a corner route. Really doesn't have any pressure on him. Just puts the ball, leaves it behind Larry Fitzgerald. Craig Dowell does a great job of just stepping in front of the ball and making an interception.
That is the 9th interception for this Ram defense this year. They had only 8 all of last year. One of the reasons, an area of improvement, they're at the top of the NFC West. First turnover of the game and a major loss there for the Cardinals. See what Bradford can do. And he airs it out, connecting with Gibson for a Ram first down.
Sam Bradford, when we were talking to him about the different receivers and what he likes about his different receivers, he said Gibson is his best route runner. You see different moves, double moves. He loves to come to Gibson. Has a lot of confidence in Gibson and what he can do with his routes, that he's going to create space for himself in one-on-one situations.
And the turnover battle, it's one of the reasons the Rams, who've only turned it over twice in their last 6 games, have been successful. And the Cardinals and Ken Wisenhunt, a different story. On 1st and 10, it's time to go to Jackson. He's trying to go somewhere. Paris Lennon, leading tackler and probably the most consistent Cardinal defensive player this year, makes the stop.
It came up a couple times in our meetings this week asking who's been the most consistent. And I don't think you expect a name like Paris Lennon to be the first name out of the coach's mouth. But it seemed like defensive coaches, head coach, everybody said they've been most surprised and pleasantly surprised by the way Paris Lennon has made plays consistently throughout this season.
A former Ram on 2nd and 11. Blitz is coming. They pick it up. Bradford on the move and somehow completes it for a first down to Gibson. At the 43-yard line of Arizona, the athleticism of Sam Bradford with a 15-yard gain. We've reached the 2-minute warning.
And one of the things that continues to impress you about Sam Bradford is his ability to make plays outside the pocket. He said this is one of his greatest strengths, is being able to use his athleticism and make plays. A little bit of a dangerous throw there, but you can see that his confidence is picking up, and he feels like he's able to make some of these throws because he can buy extra time with his feet.
He has been Rookie of the Month last couple of months. On 1st and 10 from the 42. Steven Jackson carries for a good first down pickup. And Bradford, for 6'5", you stand next to him, he's tall, and that was one of the issues out of college, was his durability. He's taken hits, and the Rams, there was no doubt once his shoulder checked out before the draft that he was their guy to go with.
Well, when you look at him, he doesn't necessarily impress you when you look at him, whether it's his stature or just the look on his face. He looks like he's a 21-year-old kid. But when you actually watch him play and you hear his teammates talk about how impressive he is from so many standpoints, it really makes you stand up and take notice, even though he might not always look the part.
They run a little tight end screen to Daniel Phelps, who has a first down inside the 30-yard line. Coming up, the Visa halftime report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They'll have scores and highlights from around the league. The Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated as well, and it's a little bit of a hurry up. They do. Rams have 2 timeouts remaining. Cardinals have 1. Clock runs 50 seconds and ticking. Bradford hesitates and gets rid of it over the head of Denario Alexander. Had to make a decision there.
And it's one of the things that Sam was talking about, that he gets more comfortable with the offense. As these young receivers get more comfortable with the offense, these young linemen, they can do more of this no-huddle offense. They say that they can call any play they want at the line of scrimmage. He feels very comfortable in it, so it's something that he likes to come into games with that option, because he believes it's one of his strengths to be able to see the field, make decisions, and get his team into the right play.
You saw Denario Alexander, and Bradford said he's our deep threat. LaRon Robinson in as well. Steven Jackson all the way out on the left side as a receiver, and Sam rolls right. Bradford completes. And LaRon Robinson has a Ram first down. And we're going to get a timeout by the Rams, so they will have 1 remaining. I think you were amazed, Kurt, about how Sam Bradford can run on the move make decisions, throw the ball, and limit the turnovers. Usually those two things don't go well together.
Well, a lot of times when you have a quarterback that can extend a play, that can use their feet, can buy a little extra time, has a big arm, when they do those kinds of things, they try to force balls into their receivers down the field. What he does so well is he extends plays, but he still understands that he doesn't have to make the play down the field. There's a great throw there, little touch pass over to the defender, to Robinson in that situation, just buying a little bit of extra time, able to use that big arm, and what he says is one of his greatest strengths is the ability to throw on the run.
So with 38 seconds to go and a tie game in the first half and one timeout remaining for each team. From the 15, it's first down. Sam Bradford underneath to Jackson. And Steven Jackson fighting for the end zone has another first down as Adrian Wilson brings him down around the 2 or 3 yard line.
And that's the advantage that you have with a guy like Steven Jackson, the guy that actually led this team in receptions last year. Feels very comfortable.
They're going to spike it here.
Feels very comfortable coming out of the backfield. And Bradford was talking that he understands that when you get the ball into the hands of a guy like Steven Jackson, that can be a big play for you. You don't have to throw the ball 30 yards down the field to get a big play when you've got a back like Jackson is.
Piece of halftime report coming up with all the highlights and scores. The 49ers lost earlier today. The Seahawks are losing, so Steve Spagnuolo's team could be alone in first place in the NFC West if they could pull out a victory today. Second and goal, 16 seconds remaining. Bradford is hurried and incomplete and brought down hard at the 10-yard line by Darnell Dockett.
And this is exactly what this Cardinal team needs from Darnell Dockett.
He looked angry.
He's better when he's angry. But he can create penetration from that defensive tackle spot. You don't have a lot of guys that can create sacks and pressures from that position. And they really need Darnell Dockett to be that guy that can force the issue a little bit from inside.
Third and goal. Didn't quite hear what referee Clete Blakeman was talking about. There's a booth review upstairs. Not sure what they're reviewing. Maybe the spot of the football. There was a fumble on the end of the play. When Bradford threw the incompletion, they're going to review whether that was an incomplete pass or not. The booth review, the officials wanted to make sure it was an incomplete pass and not a fumble. And let's see if we have a result here.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed is an incomplete forward pass. It'll be third down. Please set the game play clock to 10 seconds, please. 10 seconds on the play clock.
So you see Darnell Dockett get a great jump here. Quick penetration, but you can see Sam Bradford's arm just move forward enough that anytime that arm gets moving forward, it's considered a pass. Since the ball goes forward, it's an incomplete pass on this play. Pretty easy call to make.
And you know about that, Kurt, and our rules analyst back at the Fox Command Center, former head of officials Mike Pereira, supporting your view. The arm clearly going forward. So it's third and goal. They do have a timeout. Bradford. Incomplete. Batted down.
Really a great job by Williams there, because Bradford had his tight end sneaking across the field wide open on the left side of the end zone. You see the tight end right here. He sneaks back across like we were talking about earlier. They'd love to sneak the tight ends back across. He's wide open. Nobody's covering him. Great job by Dan Williams to get up and knock that ball down.
Dan Williams, the first-round draft pick, preventing, and Bradford steamed over there with a great opportunity in the end zone miss, so they have to settle for 3. The good news for the Rams, it gives them the lead at 9-6. Week 14 pivotal in this NFC West race. It promises to go right to the wire. The Rams will have a tough assignment down at the Bayou as Sam Bradford and These division leaders from the West will play in New Orleans against the Saints and the defending Super Bowl champions who won today on the road in Cincinnati. And meanwhile, the Seahawks, they will face the 49ers. 49ers lost today, although they've been inspired by the play of Troy Smith. And Seattle is trailing 14-3 as we near the half, and the standings coming into today. Who is the best team in the NFC West, Kurt?
Well, the problem with the NFC West is they haven't been very consistent. You know, that Seattle one week looks like they're the best team, but then they come back the next week and get blown out. From that standpoint, I would have to say St. Louis is probably the most consistent team. You know, they're sitting at the top of the division. They've lost 4 games this year by 4 points or less. They just seem to be playing the most solid football from top to bottom. Even though their record isn't great, I think they've been the most consistent. If they can keep that going throughout the rest of the season, I think they can separate themselves.
And you can relate to that. Some of your Arizona teams were, what, 9-7? You get into the playoffs, and then anything can happen.
Well, that's the great thing, is that it doesn't matter how you get in. Once you get in, if you're playing your best football, you've got a chance to make a run.
LaRon Stevens-Howley picks up the football and runs out of bounds, and that is the end of the first half. So the Cardinals, who had the lead much of the half, started out on some excellent drives, resulting obviously in field goals, now trail after a turnover and some tough running from Steven Jackson. We're at the half, and the Rams lead 9-6. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Here in Arizona, along with Kurt Warner, Chris Myers, and glad you're enjoying 9-6 at the half. And Kurt, your thoughts, kind of obviously a slug it out kind of toe-to-toe matchup after the first portion of the game.
Well, I think both offenses have done a good job of moving the football. They're doing what they want to do. They're running the ball. They're passing it where they want. But the defenses have done a great job when the offenses have gotten close. They're keeping them to field goals, not letting anybody make that big play to put the ball in the end zone. That's why it's so close. But I think both teams are doing what they want. They just need to get that one big play or that breakout play to put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, the biggest play, that interception by Craig Dahlett, the go-ahead field goal for the Rams. Both teams combined to go 0 for 12 on third down. How about your first impression of Sam Bradford in person here? What do you think?
Well, I think he's as advertised, that he's making good decisions. He's making plays on the run. He's making plays with his arm. I just think he's in command out there, and that's the one thing that you hear and that you wonder about a young guy is, can he handle all the different situations? Is he in command of the offense of the game? And it looks like everything that he's done up to this point in the first half, that he's very much in command, knows what he's seeing, making the right decisions with the football, and really done a good job here in the first half.
You know, the Rams finally got that win on the road at Denver, and they're trying to do it again against a team that's beaten them 8 straight times. The division has belonged to the Cardinals in the past. We know they're having their problems, but they're struggling here. What do you expect out of the Rams, who have a lot to play for here in the second half?
Well, I expect them to do the same things they've done up to this point. And what they talked about winning that game against Denver last week was that the defense came up with a big play when they needed it to win games. And that's where they're gaining their confidence from, is they're finding ways to win games, whether it's the offense or the defense. I think they try to keep this game close and then put it in either Sam Bradford's hands or they put it in the defense's hand to make a big stop at the end to win this game for them.
Biggest pass play the first half was 26 yards. Derek Anderson to Steve Breston. Hightower had the biggest play from scrimmage, a 32-yard run, and Steven Jackson a 22-yard run for the biggest gain for the Rams. Another sold-out crowd here, and the roof open. Ram fans coming, as this series has gone back all the way to when the Cardinals were in Chicago and the Rams in Cleveland. You think about all the cities they've stopped along the way, and it's dead even this series in the NFC West, although the Cardinals have owned the series the last 8 meetings. Rams get the ball to start the second half. 1 turnover in the first half, and that was the Derek Anderson interception. So Jay Feely gets it going, and Danny Amendola from his goal line. And out across the 33-yard line. Let's check in down on the field with Michelle Turner.
Well, guys, it was all about third down conversions or lack thereof for Coach Wisenhunt at halftime. He said his team was abysmal in that area. They've got to do better and come away with some points, he said. Coach Bagnolo agrees. He said this is one of those games where you have to fight for every single point. He also is disappointed with his team in the area of third downs, but his halftime message, not about X's and O's to his team. He told them it's gut check time, fellas. You've got to come out here in the second half with some confidence and simply play football. Back to you, Chris and Kurt.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And the Rams have the football first. And the handoff to Jackson, who gains maybe a yard. Gerald Hayes with the stop. And Steve Spagnuolo talked to you, Kurt, about a young team playing meaningful games in December. A lot of these guys haven't been through this experience.
And you could feel the excitement from his football team that it was meaningful this time of year. Most of the guys going through the 1-15 year last year, coming in, not really high expectations, not really sure what they were going to get. They were excited to know that every time they were going to step on the field from this time on through the rest of the season, that it's going to be a meaningful game.
On second down, Daniel Fells, the tight end, moves into the backfield. Fake is to Jackson. Bradford on the move, completes. Down around the 37-yard line is his tight end, Daniel Fells. Last week it was Billy Badgema who had 2 touchdown catches, a surprise to the entire league.
Well, they've done a good job with their tight ends. And again, it's one of those safety outlets for Sam Bradford that they don't necessarily have the big play receivers down the field. So he feels very comfortable being able to check the ball down, making those medium range throws to the tight ends, to Steven Jackson out of the backfield. They do a good job of using those guys as a comfort blanket for Sam Bradford.
Illinois Mike, of course, out injured 4 to 6 weeks on 3rd and 6. 6 defensive backs in. Bradford high, intercepted. Kerry Rhodes picks it up for the Arizona Cardinals.
You see that the Cardinals brought a little bit of pressure on this particular play, causing a little bit of a high throw from Bradford.
A rare pick from Bradford. It sets up the Cardinals here in the 3rd.
But welcome back to Arizona. An uncharacteristic interception by Sam Bradford, but you watch the pressure here by Joey Porter. Just gets his arm underneath Saffold and just puts his hand up just enough to, I think, throw Sam Bradford off a little bit and cause that throw to go a little bit high.
Meanwhile, Hightower carries. In their last 6 games, only 2 turnovers, and this one the first today.
And he does a great job of protecting the football, and it doesn't look like much when Joey Porter gets his hand up there and just touches the shoulder pad of Sam Bradford, but it's amazing when you're throwing the football. Just a little something like that can throw you off enough to leave that ball a little bit high in no man's land for Kerry Rhodes to go get it.
And Rhodes, who stepped in for Antrell Roll, of course, some of the personnel that is no longer on this team from last year. Rhodes making a big play to set the Cardinals up, trailing by 3. Anderson looks one way, goes down the sideline and tipped away. Fitzgerald was open in between, and Quincy Butler, who came into play when Bartell was hurt, knocked it away.
And the Rams tried to show a little bit of blitz there. Derek Anderson saw it. They ran back into a cover 2 zone. So you see you have a corner underneath, a safety over the top. Derek Anderson tries to fit it into Larry Fitzgerald. And it was a great job by the corner. Maybe should have had that pick on that play to turn the tides there and get the Rams back to football.
Fitzgerald 3 catches in the opening quarter and has been shut down since. He's up on the left on 3rd and 10. Rams threaten blitz. Here they come. Picked up. Anderson almost intercepted, or at least in the area. Was intended. And the Boo Birds are out. Intended for his tight end. Kevin Dockery got back there to knock it down. So it'll bring out a punting situation.
You see, it's early to set here, just trying to work the middle of the field. They brought a little bit of a blitz, a lot of room in there. Dockery does a great job at the last second of just getting his hand on the ball, but there was an opening there. Pretty good pass by Derek Anderson, but a good play by Dockery.
So after a fast start for Derek Anderson, things have slowed, and Amendola back to take the Graham punt. A high kick, and the fair catch called for just inside the 15-yard line. Rams have the lead. They get the football back, surviving the Sam Bradford pick. Quick Hit NFL Football gives sports fans a chance to coach their own NFL team for free. Choose your favorite team, call the plays, guide your team to victory, and you can play today at foxsports.com or NFL.com. Steven Jackson, the carry on first down, met hard with a little gain.
And we talked at the outset of the show that the Cardinals needed their best players to make big plays in this game. And the one guy throughout the season that's been able to make big plays for him is Kerry Rhodes. He scored a couple return touchdowns already this year. Almost had a third against Minnesota. You see him make another big play on that last drive. He's got 4 tackles, a pass breakup, an interception already. So he's one guy that's stepping up and making those big plays for this Cardinals team.
Tight end Billy Bajema injured. We'll check on the injury in just a moment. Billy Bajema walked off the field on a second down run by Kenneth Darby, who checks in. Will bring up third down. We heard Nichelle Turner say at the half that Steve Spagnuolo said, hey, it's gut check time for his Ram team. They're playing for a division title, and yet they just don't seem to have that kind of pop in the step that you'd think.
Well, the thing you have to understand about this Rams offense is they're not an explosive offense. You know, we heard that from a number of players on their team. They don't have those explosive playmakers. So they kind of are what they are. They've got to be consistent. They can't turn the ball over like they did the last drive, but they got to keep running the football, taking their chances, keep moving Sam Bradford out of the pocket, and keep this game close.
Bradford completes, and that is Amendola, and that is the first third down conversion for the Rams in 9 tries in this game.
And they know they love to get the ball to Amendola in third down situations. You see in this look that he motions across the field, just does a quick little fake to the outside, break back inside. Mike Williams overruns the play, get the ball to him, allow him to make a play in space. But that's who they want to get the ball to in those third down situations.
His first catch of the game as Jackson carries on first down, and a good run. Let's check in for a game break with Kurt Benefit.
Got a good start to the second half for the Seahawks. A 9-play, 96-yard drive capped off by Marshawn Lynch. 1-yard touchdown pulls the Hawks to within 4 of Carolina, 14-10 early in the third. Chris and Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt. And here, the Rams on second down 4, again with a faster pace offense to give to Jackson. It'll bring up third down as Paris Lennon made the tackle.
Well, the third down play that created them a little bit of space on the field allows them to do a lot more things with the football. Take shots, do the no-huddle offense where they feel a little more comfortable on the field.
Jason Smith, the injured player, their right tackle, and he's the only offensive lineman who has missed a start this year. We'll check on the injury and continue here in Arizona. Right tackle Jason Smith hobbled off the field.
Seeing this look here, he's just trying to run down the field, make a block down the field. Looks like he steps on a foot or twists an ankle or something.
Amendola in motion. Bradford completes. Denario Alexander all the way down to the 41-yard line.
Another great concept by the Rams offense. Keeping the ball underneath, not forcing the ball down the field. Just a couple, you got a little crossing route, coming here and back under here. Gets a little bit of a pick as he's coming across the field. Sam does a great job of leading him so he can get some yards after the catch.
Renardo Foster in at right tackle for Jason Smith. On first down, Jackson carries straight ahead for a couple before Adrian Wilson makes the stop. And Denario Alexander, the rookie free agent from Missouri, who is the best deep threat, as we mentioned, making the play that set this up. And again, it's a faster pace, and that's really what, for personnel reasons on defense to...
Yeah, so they can't change personnel. They can't get into a lot of their calls. They have to go more of a base defense where you're not going to get all those exotic blitzes coming at you.
On second down, Bradford for Gibson. Looked like he held on, but was pushed forward near the first down marker. Let's get a quick game break with Kurt Menefee.
The Seahawks are scoring so quickly, we're having a hard time keeping up. This is Lofa Tatupu with the interception, taking it all the way back off Jimmy Clausen. 17-14, Seattle has scored 2 touchdowns in the last 1 minute, 28 seconds. Chris, Kurt, and Nichelle.
All right, thank you, Kurt. And the NFC West could be shaken up after today as Jason Smith is back in at the tackle spot on 3rd and 1. Bradford looks to throw. He'll run it himself. First down, Rams.
When you talk about gut check time for this Rams offense, they've come out here in this second drive. They've gotten 3 first downs, 3 third down conversions, which is something they didn't do in the first half. So really doing a good job of changing it up, being able to change the tempo up as they move the ball down the field.
Dick Curl helping out, the assistant coach, quarterbacks coach, and the Ram players talked about 2 personalities with Sam Bradford. Jackson carries on the 10th play of the drive, and Steven Jackson is going to have a touchdown Rams. "27 yards, first touchdown of the game."
And they've stayed patient with the run all day long, believing that they could run the ball against this Cardinal defense, been able to change it up a little bit. You see a great kick out block here. Steven Jackson's patient, slips up underneath it, makes one guy miss, and then it's just a foot race to the end zone.
Jason Smith, who was injured, came back in, helped block and spring that run for Steven Jackson, the 2-time Pro Bowler, his 4th rushing touchdown of the season. The extra point will make it a 16-6 Ram lead. So like Seattle, the Rams, the better teams, rising to the top of the NFC West on the heels of Steven Jackson. Here in Arizona, an impressive drive by the Rams, capped off by Steven Jackson, and he was patient on the run. They were patient on the drive.
Well, and that's what this Rams offense is they're not going to blow you away. They're not going to impress you by getting big play after big play, but they're consistent. And that's what they've been good at so far this year. They did a great job on that drive of just taking what was there, creating first downs, and buying their time until Steven Jackson was able to make that big play for them.
LaRon Stevens howling, hoping to give the Cardinals an opportunity to cut into the lead. And Stevens howling gets room out across the 34-yard line where the Cardinal offense takes over. Tonight on Fox, you'll believe in an all-new Simpsons Christmas with Martha Stewart. She has the magic touch to save the season and a special gift with Katy Perry. Everybody's dolled up. It's an all-new Simpsons Christmas tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And by the way, this is a Jeff Gowan production, directed by Tom Yohe. We thank all the production crew from Fox, along with Kurt Warner, Michelle Turner down on the field, Chris Myers, and the Rams trying to get to 500 and maintain their hold on the top spot in the NFC West. Eric Anderson struggled after a hot first quarter. Pass here behind was going for Preston.
And these are the moments where Coach Wisenhunt was talking about. We need our playmakers to step up and make some plays. Something just went against us. We just gave up a long drive touchdown. We need somebody to show up and make a big play for us. That's what they've been missing all year.
And a lot of questions, and you talked about the answers. Veterans, some of the stars would have to step up, but you got to get the ball to Fitzgerald or Hightower. Anderson now 2 of his last 12, plus the pick and the sack. One of the worst quarterbacks responding to the blitz. The Rams do that well.
Run!
The handoff is to LaRon Stevens howling. It'll be 3rd and long.
That's been one of the criticisms on Derek Anderson, not only this year but throughout his careers, the ability to consistently make the throws that are there to be made. Not to necessarily have to make the big play every time, but if there's a throw that's supposed to be made that you should complete, we need to complete those. And the reason why he got taken out of the lineup early, done it better this second half of the year, but still not doing it consistently enough for this offense.
Free agent Max Hall, who had a chance to start in between, is warming up. 3rd and 10. 0 for 6 on 3rd downs. Pass is tipped and incomplete. The play never had a chance. It'll be a punting situation for the Cardinals.
Well, the Rams continue to blitz Derek Anderson in these situations, forcing him to get the ball out of his hands. You see the pressure coming from this side. Early Doucette's just outside of that, running a hot route. Derek Anderson's trying to get the ball out before the pressure gets to him. Atagwe does a great job of getting his hands up, getting his hands up on the ball, which is something that he's tremendous at, is getting his hands and getting his body around the ball.
So the punt by Graham sends Amendola back to his 5-yard line. And he squirts through. And he's still going out across the 30-yard line. A nifty return by the 5'10" Danny Amendola. A punt return of 27 yards. And Kurt, that last drive, the Rams punched it into the end zone.
You just watch them, and it was so much about their third down conversion. Something they weren't doing very well in the first half. They got three third down conversions on that drive. You see the third one here is Sam Bradford just tucks it in, gets a few extra yards, sets up this big run by Steven Jackson. But the key to that drive was getting those third down conversions, 3 of them, to set up that touchdown run.
45th career touchdown for Steven Jackson. And he gets the football on 1st and 10 with room to the outside. There's a penalty flag as he goes out of bounds near midfield.
Good job of getting Steven Jackson to the edge, but it looked like there might have been a hold by Gibson on Michael Adams on the corner.
Holding. Offense. Number 11. It's a 10-yard penalty. To the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Call is on Brandon Gibson, the receiver, as you pointed out.
See as Steven Jackson gets to the edge here. You see Gibson right here, just little hold, little push in the back on Michael Adams, who was coming up to make the play, springing Steven Jackson for a few extra yards.
You know, that last drive, too, Sam Bradford responded after the interception. He, of course, set a rookie record already this year, going 169 pass attempts without a pick. He survived that one. Amendola with a handoff across the 26-yard line, and Adrian Wilson brought him down. It'll be second down. Let's go back. How was the longest you went without throwing a pick? You remember?
I actually played this game pretty good, but I don't think I ever went that long without throwing an interception, which, again, is just another one of those things that continually impresses you about Sam Bradford, is that so many different things that he does well. We said 168 attempts without an interception. The one interception came on a shovel pass that was messed up by his offensive lineman. So it's been really, really impressive over the last 6 games of taking care of the football.
Certainly told you, he said, I'm not a rookie anymore, and he hasn't played like one. Tipped in the air. Gibson goes up, and like a basketball player going for a rebound, it's a good thing that the 6-foot Gibson reached up in the air. That might have been picked off. He didn't give it a chance for a Cardinal defender.
Well, you hate those plays as a quarterback. As soon as that ball goes up in the air, you start thinking to yourself, oh, here we go. This could go the other direction. But you get that big smile on your face when the ball's tipped up and you see one of your big receivers go up and get it. Great job by Calais Campbell, one of the biggest guys on the football field. Does a great job of getting his hands up and batting balls down, but unfortunately went right into Gibson's hands there.
Campbell playing with a sore left ankle that they had to help with painkillers. On 3rd and 12, a chance for the Cardinal defense to come up big. They protect Bradford for a moment, and there is Campbell. If he was in any pain, he made sure that Sam Bradford felt some of it.
One of the things that they needed to do was get pressure on Sam Bradford, make him hold on to the ball, hit him. You see Calais is coming on this side, bringing pressure from the other side. Offensive line actually does a pretty good job of picking up the pressure, but Fells and Darby get into a little mix-up right there, freeing up Campbell to get back into Sam Bradford and create the sack.
At 6'8", he delivers the 2nd sack of the game for the Cardinals, and that's what's been missing, the pass rush from this Arizona defense. The punt. Andre Roberts, the return. And he has room, brought down at the 35-yard line. NASCAR season is over, but Fox already revving up for another exciting season. And in February, after the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500. But cheers here in Arizona for Max Hall. He hopes to rev the engines of this Arizona Cardinal offense that has struggled. Before we get to Daytona, we got to get out of Glendale, Arizona. What do you think of this move by Ken Wisenhart?
Well, I think it's one of those moves that you're just trying to spark something. That you come into this game, hope your team's going to respond. Defense does a good job of getting the Rams out on downs. Now you're just trying to spark something with your offense. It's been really stagnant throughout most of this game.
Maybe a little bit more mobility. From the 35, Beanie Wells is in. They fake to Wells, the blitz is on, and Otagwe got there first. I don't know if it would have mattered if you were in there at quarterback.
Well, that's going to be one of the tough things, is that you still have to remember Max Hall is a rookie. Hasn't played a lot of football. You're playing against a defensive coordinator that loves to attack and loves to blitz. And so he's going to have to recognize a lot of things, get the ball out of his hands. In this look here, it looked like Beanie Wells was supposed to step up and get protection there. He overstepped the protection, allowed Otagwe to get around him, and Max Hall really didn't have a chance on that play.
The Cardinals come in having lost 6 in a row, and fans wanted to see passion and intensity. Can Max Hall provide that on 2nd and 17? Here comes pressure again. Incomplete. In the neighborhood of Andre Roberts. He didn't have a chance.
They're going to continue to bring pressure until Max shows that he can recognize it, he can get the ball out, get into his playmaker's hands. You see just a free runner on the edge. Max really had no chance to get the ball to his receiver, just had to throw it into the ground.
28-yard line now. It'll be 3rd and long. Derek Anderson benched after a slow start. Max Hall, who replaced Anderson the first time he was benched, is back in there. On the move, throws, and that looks like it is intercepted. Are his feet in bounds? Yes. Bradley Fletcher made the catch and stayed in bounds.
That's exactly what you don't want your young quarterback to do when you're coming in, trying to spell the offense, trying to make something happen. You can't make a big mistake, put your defense in a difficult spot. Larry Fitzgerald here trying to create some space as Max Hall runs out of bounds, or runs out of the pocket. Ball's just a little bit behind him as he's got pressure, trying to force one in there, trying to make a play, not what you want to do in that situation.
And Max Hall, Kurt, when you and I were out at practice on Friday, was sick and not active. Coming in off the bench and throwing the interception. So the Ram defense, 2nd pick of the game. Steven Jackson brought down in a hurry. The hustle continues from Darnell Dockett, playing with that injured shoulder. Fletcher with the pick, and Dockett said that shoulder, there's some pain that shoots through the arm and you lose feeling. He sometimes has to come out and rest for a few plays, and doctors say you can't play with it like that.
Well, he has what you call a stinger, and every once in a while you get hit in just a certain way and your arm can go numb. So he says it usually takes about 6 plays for him to get that feeling back and feel comfortable going back into a game.
And when we asked him the biggest difference between this year and last, he looked over at you. He said, "You want me to be honest? Kurt Warner's missing." Bradford doesn't want to make a mistake. Stays inbounds, is brought down by Adrian Wilson.
And Darnell said one of the toughest things is believing in the offense to be able to score points. That they get down in some of these games and their offense hasn't showed the fortitude to fight back and to score points consistently, that sometimes it can be demoralizing on the defense when they go out, do their job, get a 3 and out, but their offense can't put points on the board. And something happened just there. They got the 3 and out by the Rams, turn it back around. 3 plays later, they're getting a turnover and putting the Rams on a short field.
But these fans are hoping the defense can make a play. They're capable of scoring. They apply pressure. Everybody's coming after Bradford, and he somehow completes near the first down marker to LaRon Robinson. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie was right there with him, but we'll check the spot to see if it's a first down.
Give me that. Ain't no first. Give me the ball.
You see a great pickup by the Rams offensive line, and the timing here, you see the ball coming. As soon as he turns, a little back shoulder throw. Bradford does a great job of putting the ball on time, putting it to the outside. Rolling Robinson can get it. I like the rapport that Bradford's building with these young receivers. As we've talked about before, a lot of different guys coming into the mix, in and out, a number of injuries that they've had throughout the season. But you can see he's starting to gain more and more confidence in what these guys can do.
The measurement to see if the 3rd down play was enough to convert, and it was. So that's a first down for the Rams. It's remarkable that a rookie quarterback like Bradford loses Donnie Avery and Mark Clayton to injury, established receivers, and works with a group with Amendola, Brandon Gibson, LaRon Robinson, Denario Alexander, who's been injured some of the year, and yet it doesn't seem his tight end is out, so he looks for Bajema. He just seems to have a good feel no matter who's out there.
I think he does have a good feel, and I think he gets more and more comfortable with the different routes that they run. But the offense has done a great job of utilizing the skills of those different players. And that's why you're not seeing all the big plays, because these receivers aren't built to do that. But they do a good job of using them and playing to their strengths.
And there is LaRon Robinson with a big third down catch on first down. Pass tipped away at the last moment. Excellent anticipation by Kerry Rhodes.
It was a good play. It looked like he had his tight end open there for just a second. Tried to force one in there, get a little bit of a big play down by the red zone. But you see Kerry Rhodes comes in at the last second and just gets his hand on the ball. Almost got an interception in that play, being able to go around the tight end and make a play on the ball.
It'll be second down 10. Some were critical, Ram fans, last week in Denver on the road, that the Rams maybe got a little bit conservative, but Steve Spagnuolo was quick to defend his team. And here they were throwing, and now they're running with Steven Jackson as we are winding down the third quarter, and the Rams protecting a 10-point lead.
Yeah, I don't think they're so much conservative as really trying to play to their strengths. And again, this offense goes through Steven Jackson first, the play action, building in the short throw. So I don't think they necessarily got conservative last week. They just didn't want to take any chances or become uncharacteristic of who they are as an offense.
Steve Spagnuolo said he thought about it on the plane ride. How can their team close people out in the fourth quarter? They held out against Denver. They have the lead here, heading to the fourth quarter. Kenneth Darby carries, and he will be short of the first down, stopped at the 25-yard line. As the clock runs out, it's the end of the third quarter, and our score, the Rams 16, the Arizona Cardinals 6. Fox NFL Sunday continues after this. We're back in Glendale, Arizona. Field goal attempt of looks like about 43 yards. And that's all we had in the first half was field goals. The Steven Jackson touchdown kind of broke the ice. The Rams hoping to add to their lead as Josh Brown gets ready to equal his career best of 4 field goals in one game. And the kick is good. So the Rams winning with defense and reliable special teams on the road. We'll have more in a moment. Scoring drive enough for the Rams to add 3 more. Sam Bradford steady after the early pick, and Josh Brown with his 4th field goal, chewing up more than 3 minutes of the clock as we start the fourth quarter. Derek Anderson started, benched in favor of Max Hall. We actually saw the rookie from Fordham, the 5th-round draft pick, John Skelton, warming up on the sideline. Who knows where Ken Wisenhunt will go as LaRod Stevens-Howling takes the return. Trailing by 13. Well, Kurt, I think Arizona Cardinal fans are asking, as Ken Wisenhunt continues to juggle quarterbacks, would the Cardinals have been better off since you retired sticking with Matt Leinart?
Well, you know, that's one of those things that it's hard to answer. That knowing Coach and knowing the way that he makes decisions, he truly felt like this was the best thing for his football team. And I think a lot of it had to do with how this team was built. That Derek gives them the advantage of really attacking down the field with his big arm, and they really felt like he was going to allow them to play this game the way we had played it the last couple of years. And I don't think it was necessarily a knock on Matt Leinart, other than he plays the game a little bit differently than this offense was set up.
Some Hightower carries. Now, how about you? Have you had the urge to come back and play on Sunday?
I love being up here in the booth with you, Chris. No, you know, I really haven't missed it.
Okay.
You know, I've had a lot of things on my plate, a lot of things that I prepared for when football was over.
We've seen you dancing.
I was doing a little dancing, not necessarily what I prepared for when I was playing football, but I'm not missing the game. I think it was the right time for me to get out, and I'm very comfortable with my decision. And
it certainly had an effect on the Cardinals' fortunes or misfortunes as they try and rally here. And Max Hall going to the run again. That's what worked in the first half. Hightower carries. Let's get a game break with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
How about Indianapolis continuing the comeback? Blocked punt by Taj Smith and recovered for a touchdown by Taj Smith. They were down 17-0. Indy now leads the Cowboys 28-27. Chris and Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt. Checking the standings in the AFC South. The Colts finally, the run may end.
Well, it may end. You still like them. You still know they're dangerous with Peyton Manning, but it just seems can't find that consistency.
1st and 10. Hand off to Hightower. Across the 30-yard line, and Chris Long makes the stop. Chris Long at our production meeting looked at you and said, hey, by the way, who are you rooting for? Rams or Cardinals? We know you live in Arizona, but that Super Bowl title in St. Louis, people love you there.
Well, you know, I appreciate both these franchises. To get the chance that I got with both these teams, for them to take a chance on me at the different times in my career. Very thankful for both of these organizations. Obviously, I have a lot of close ties with a number of players and coaches on the Cardinal team, being that I've been with them the last 5 years. But really appreciate both of these organizations.
On second down, Hall has some room and completes. That's the tight end. I'm sorry, that's the fullback, Reagan Mawia. Usually you don't see him in a passing play.
No, you don't see him throwing it much to the fullback in this offense. But we talked a lot about quarterbacks, and you can see kind of the tale of these two cities, that you've got the St. Louis Rams that are making a little bit of a resurgence because of their young quarterback and the way that he's playing. A lot of questions here in Arizona due to the fact that they really haven't found that consistent quarterback play. And, you know, you still understand in this business that this league is still a quarterback league, and those best teams come December are usually the ones that have a very solid quarterback.
So on 1st and 10, at least the team with pressure coming. The ball is loose. And it looks like Max Hall, Fred Robbins may have gotten to it first. Max Hall was scrambling for it. Let's see what the official says. Waiting for their call. Unless they're going to say he was down. Boy, that looked like Robbins came up with the football, but they're going to say the Cardinals keep it. Let's take a closer look.
You see that since Max Hall has come into the game, that Coach Spagnuolo just wants to pressure. He wants to continue to bring blitzes from different areas, make sure the rookie can recognize what's going on and make the decision, which he hasn't been able to do very well up to this point.
And Max Hall is the player who is injured. We'll check on his status in a moment. Here in Arizona, Max Hall, injured, walked off the field and is headed to the Cardinal locker room. So the third quarterback, he replaced a healthy Derek Anderson. John Skelton, 5th-round draft pick out of Fordham, his first NFL action, and he gives to Tim Hightower.
And John Skelton came in a little bit in preseason, played pretty well for him early. I knew they felt like he wasn't quite ready early in the season to come in and have a chance in the quarterback rotation. But now that we're getting towards the end of the year, a little more confident with the offense. We'll see what he's able to do, how much they're able to expand the offensive playbook. But be interesting to see how much blitzing comes after him with the fact that he hasn't played at all this year.
He stands 6'6". He started 41 out of 43 games at Fordham and is a throw it down the field kind of guy. From the pocket, it is down the field, and that's a completion to Preston.
And the one thing they talk about with John Skelton, he's got a big arm. He's got the ability to stand back there in the pocket, take hits, and throw the ball down the field. You see Steve Preston just runs a big in route here. Great big arm throw. Puts the ball right on the money, able to stand in the pocket even with the pressure coming. John Skelton makes a little bit of an impression early.
And Ken Wisenhunt was not sure if Skelton was ready. You talked about, well, at what point do you play young guys for the future? And he said, we want to win now. And obviously with the injury to Hall and Anderson being ineffective, Skelton is the alternative. And the whistle blows before the snap, and it's going to be against the Cardinals.
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Let's check in down on the field on the injury status, and Nichelle Turner has more. Nichelle?
Hey, Chris, the word not great on Max Hall right now. You saw him walking to the locker room, and that's where he'll stay. We're told he has a left shoulder injury, and he will not return to this game. Back to you.
Thank you. So the option is, if something were to happen with Skelton, you could go back to Derek Anderson, but at this point, trailing by 13, 10 minutes to go. Let's see what Skelton can do. First and 15 in the pocket. He's got Fitzgerald inside the 30. So he equals Anquan Boldin for all-time catches as a Cardinal.
See another just quick in route by Larry Fitzgerald. Pushes up, runs in. Great job by John Skelton. Nice timing route, finding the open zones across the middle and getting Larry Fitzgerald to tie the all-time franchise record at only 27 years old.
The Fitzgerald fan club rooting him on 1st and 10. A touchdown and the Rams would be threatened more, and the Cardinals could get right back in it. Frustration from Hightower because he saw an opening there. Stumbled a bit.
The young kid's been pretty impressive coming in. Not really expecting to play, coming in and making a few plays, getting them in a good position. Now they got to see if they can be able to finish this drive and put some points on the board.
We have an injured Ram player. We will check. It is Niall Diggs, the linebacker, and have more from Arizona in a moment. Kurt Warner, Chris Myers, and Michelle Turner down on the field, and with Max Hall injured, John Skelton has created a spark for the Cardinals. In his first NFL game, just getting rid of it, and incomplete. We'll check on the injury as well to Niall Diggs. Pressure all day on whoever's been the quarterback.
Well, especially with the mixing up of quarterbacks. You see Dahl here, Dockery here, coming from the backside. You see Tim Hightower does a great job of stepping up and picking up Dahl, but there's still a free rusher. And John Skelton recognized it.
There's a flag down. Now, could that be grounding?
10-yard penalty.
They're going to say
loss of down. It'll be 3rd down.
That the receiver's not in the area.
Well, John Skelton recognized that there was a free hitter coming, and there was a little miscommunication between him and Larry Fitzgerald, that when a look like that comes, Larry Fitzgerald changes his route. It looked like John Skelton thought he was going to run a go route. Larry Fitzgerald ran a quick slant, and due to that, he was still in the pocket, threw the ball down the field. There was an intentional grounding call.
Forgivable when it's your first NFL game and rookie inexperience. And Fitzgerald, he said, forget about the record. We need a win. The record may happen if Skelton can get him one more catch in this game. Penalty flag. That may be a delay. The frustration mounts.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Seems to be the theme for the season with this Cardinals team. Couple big plays, get the ball moving, put them in good position to score, get back into this game. And then what happens, a couple penalties. Now they're in 3rd and long situation. Tough situation for this young guy to be in.
Well, you want to at least try to get in range of a field goal. And at Fordham, Skelton set records for yards and touchdowns and completions. He would love about 15 yards here. He's going for Fitzgerald and incomplete. And it'll be 4th down.
We know he's got the big arm to make those throws, but it's just tough when you get in long yardage situation. You know the defense is sitting back. Tough to hit it in one of those windows when they know that you've got to take a big throw to get the 1st down.
So 8:49 to go, and the 19-6 Ram lead. The defense digs in, and they'll get the football back. Ram, the lefty, to Amendola. Fair catch waved for, and he's going to catch it at the 5-yard line. So the Cardinal defense will be on the spot to try and pin the Rams back here when we continue. Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Stick around for the OT with Kurt and the guys, exclusive interviews, extended highlights, and then a look ahead to next week. It's America's #1 postgame show, the OT, presented by Lowe's, and it's coming up right after the game, only on Fox. Rams on 1st down from inside the 5-yard line.
You got to expect the Rams to stay pretty conservative here. Do what they've done, not force the ball down the field, not make Sam Bradford hold the ball in the pocket, continue to hand the ball off to Steven Jackson, maybe move Bradford a little bit, some easy throws, try to run out some of this clock, before they give the ball back to the Cardinals.
Can they hold a 4th quarter lead on the road? You know, there was certain check marks the head coach had for this team, and he's been checking them off. Seattle is winning. The Rams are winning. It'll be 3rd down. Dan Williams making the tackle. You have to figure if the Cardinals could have at least gotten a field goal on that last drive. Skelton gave them a spark. They're still within striking distance here, and now if they could force the Rams to punt here, they would have a good scoring opportunity.
They can get them in a quick 3-and-out, like you said, Chris. Then good field position. They can come down and get a quick score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. It gets them back in the game, gives them a little bit of confidence. Still a lot of time left here in the 4th quarter.
on 3rd and 10. It's a run. It'll be 4th down. Darby carried for St. Louis.
And you see the Rams running here, in the 4th quarter. And we talked to Coach Spagnuolo, and he said one of the silver linings of the game last week against Denver was they didn't want to give up the lead and let Denver back into the game. But he thought one of the silver linings was the fact that the defense had to shut him out at the end, that it was the defense that secured that victory for him. And so when they come out in a situation like this, they run 3 straight times. They feel very confident in what their defense is doing and that their defense can close out this game if they need to.
And the Rams with Donnie Jones back to punt, milking the clock. Going to run it down as much as they can from his own end zone. A high kick, and Andre Roberts from midfield has it and goes down in a hurry. Excellent special teams play by the Rams. Britt Miller making the stop. We talked about Sam Bradford being the stabilizing force for the Rams at quarterback. The Cardinal quarterbacks, a long day.
That's been a long day. Kind of the theme of the season. You knew coming in that the Rams wanted to get pressure on these quarterbacks. They've done a good job of getting pressure, keeping them off balance. They really haven't been able to make many plays from that position. And that's the reason that we've seen 3 different quarterbacks just trying to find that spark, trying to find that guy that can energize this offense a little bit.
So Derek Anderson started, went to the bench. Max Hall injured his shoulder, replacing him, and John Skelton is in, the 5th round draft pick. Remember, Max Hall was an undrafted free agent, so they saw something in Skelton. That's the reason he was drafted. Pass incomplete, intended for Doucette. And leading this Ram defense, James Laurinaitis.
It's funny that he's only in his 2nd year, but you hear a lot of his teammates and the coaches talk about him like a 10-year vet. That he said he studied a lot more of the defense this offseason, feels extremely comfortable with the calls, loves that he's in a defense that allows him to make checks, to move things around, and he feels really comfortable to make those decisions as they're going through his 2nd year.
On 2nd down 10. Pass complete short. And Laurinaitis said that it was guys like Steven Jackson and Shimigo Atagwe that when the Rams were losing helped him learn how to be a professional last year so he could elevate his game this year.
And the benefit of having Laurinaitis in there is that he's an every down linebacker, that he gives him the ability to do a lot of different things. He became a better pass rusher this year. He's good in coverage. He can play on 3rd downs. Obviously, he has a tremendous ability to go from sideline to sideline and make tackles in the running game. So he's an all-around linebacker, which in this day and age, you see a lot more specialists that can't play in every down situation.
On 3rd and 6, Skelton, pressure coming, and they got him. Craig Dahl from the safety spot got there first. It's another Rams sack.
Well, obviously their theme with these young quarterbacks in there is to bring pressure, bring it from a lot of different angles. You see back here, Craig Dahl, they're just overloading the backside. Too many guys to pick up in protection. Tough for a young guy to recognize all those different looks, all the different pressures and where they're coming from and where he needs to throw the ball. And so you know that the Rams are going to continue to come after the Cardinals and their young quarterbacks until they can figure it out.
Craig Dahl and Shimigo Atagwe having terrific games as the punt goes out of bounds. And Niall Diggs, by the way, with a shoulder injury, questionable, was out on that defensive series. Hey, it's the first ever American Country Awards hosted by Trace Atkins. Over 15 performances from country music's biggest stars. It's the only country music award show where you vote the winner. The American Country Awards, live tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on Fox. Now, we saw you dance. You a big country music fan?
I like a little bit of country music. Actually met my wife dancing at a country bar a few years back. So
really?
I enjoy a little bit of country music from time to time.
I hope she voted for you on that Dancing with the Stars show.
She didn't think I was good enough to vote for me, but
you did a good job.
She enjoyed watching it a little bit.
You hung in there. Bradford to throw on 1st down and completes to Billy Badgerman, the tight end, who gets a 1st down. Let's check in on the Bucs and Falcons and Kurt Menefee with a game break. Kurt?
Matt Ryan threw his 2nd interception of the game. Tampa Bay turns it into points. A little trick play. Ernest Graham, the running back, to the tight end John Gilmore, and the Buccaneers have a 10-point lead with 10.5 left in regulation. Chris and Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt. And that deserves a wow. You talk about a turnaround story. The Bucs won 3 games last year, and Josh Freeman, they're ready to win their 8th if they could hold on. And here, Sam Bradford has taken a 1-15 team to maybe their 6th win in the division lead.
We got a chance to see Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago, and I know both of us were impressed with Josh Freeman, and even though they're a young football team, impressed with the strides they've made throughout this year, and really think that they're going to be a quality football team for years to come.
Well, it looked like the Cardinals played excellent defense, but Alan Branch may have a late hit on the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 78. Lower the head. It's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You see Alan Branch coming here. Bradford does a good job of stopping him, throwing the ball away. Looked like it might have just been a little bit of a helmet-to-helmet hit. And as we know at this day and age in the league, with the crackdowns they've had over the last couple weeks, that they're going to call that every time.
Rams with 4 sacks in the game. Cardinals have 2, but they have hit Bradford quite a bit. On 1st and 10, trying to work the clock, protect the lead. It's Steven Jackson. Jackson, the former college teammate at Oregon State of Derek Anderson. As the Cardinals are going to burn a timeout right here. And for Jackson, 22 carries, 93 yards, and of course, the only touchdown of this game.
And one of the benefits being in this, what we call a 4-minute situation, where you're trying to run the clock down, use as much of the clock as you can, get first downs. Sam Bradford's ability to get out of the pocket is a distinct advantage, that you're not making any high-pressure throws. You're not making any difficult reads. You have a couple options. He also gives them the ability, if he can get the edge, to tuck the ball and run. So they're really being conservative. They're using his athletic ability, getting him out of the pocket, allowing him to do some things, and then spelling that with a handoff every other play with Steven Jackson. So they really got a good thing going, using the strengths of both of those guys to try to run out the clock here with just 4.5 minutes left to go.
So the Rams and Seattle are both winning on 2nd down 7 as Jackson remains in. The Rams have only won 6 games over the last 3 years, and they'll equal that mark this season. And Steven Jackson fights for a first down. I want to ask you about the Cardinals, because they didn't have answers. They almost seemed stunned to a man. The practices were good. They said the effort was good, but you have to be surprised at how this team has fallen off.
Well, I think one of the greatest strengths of our team here with the Cardinals over the last couple years was our ability to make plays, and the playmakers that we had, that when something went against us, we knew somebody was going to come back and make a play, whether that was Larry Fitzgerald, whether that was Anquan Bolden, whether that was an Antrell Roll on defense. And I think that's what's really stunned them this year, is those guys, or the guys that have replaced them, haven't been able to make those plays this year and win close games for them.
Jackson carries. And Larry Fitzgerald still 1 catch away from the all-time reception mark, as Jackson is over the 100-yard mark. But the leadership, you talk about talent, that's one thing, but leadership and how it meshes, a Bolden, a Roll, that's different.
We understand that there's so much talent in this business, that every team is talented, and it's easy sometimes to bring in someone that has just as much, if not more talent than the guy you're replacing. But the hard thing is, like you said, the locker room, the leadership, the guys that just have the knack to make the big play at crucial times in games. And that's what we had with a number of those players that they lost this offseason, and they're trying to find guys that can replace those.
As Jackson carries again and brings up 3rd and short, working that clock, trying to get it down to the 2-minute warning. And another timeout called by the Cardinals, so they will have 1 remaining. 2008, the Cardinals, the NFC champs. And Kurt Warner, you were the quarterback. They averaged almost 27 points a game in the regular season. That was among the top 3. And then in the playoffs, 98 points scored in 3 NFC playoff games against Atlanta, Carolina, and the Eagles. And then on into Super Bowl 42 in the dramatic game against the Steelers. The great pass to Fitzgerald, but then the Ben Roethlisberger's Antonio Holmes that changed things there.
And that's one of the things that makes this year so difficult, is that it's one thing, you know, to be sitting at the bottom and fighting your way up year after year. But after the success that we've had as a Cardinal organization the last couple of years, and then to come into this next year and struggle the way they have, it's a little bit tougher to handle for the fan base, for the organization, for the players that have been on, you know, some of those championship teams. It's tough to figure out what the biggest difference is.
Sam Bradford to throw, and easily completes the Badger with a tight end. Now inside the 10-yard line, Kerry Rhodes ran him out. And those were some of the faces of the Cardinals that are no longer here. St. Louis ready to pick up a win after a 26-yard gain, and the Cardinals on their way to their 7th straight loss.
And again, you see the great complement of Steven Jackson with the ability and athleticism of Sam Bradford. And it's great for situations like this when you're running out the clock. Give yourself a conservative throw. There was really only one guy in the route there. But when everybody expects you to run the football, to be able to fake that, get out on the edge, really gives the Rams a distinct advantage in these kind of situations.
Sam Bradford working the ball around to a number of receivers. Steven Jackson did get his carries today, 25 for 110 yards. As we are nearing the 2-minute warning, the Rams on the move with a 19-6 lead. Rams with a 19-6 lead, trying to go to 6-6 on the year and continue to lead the NFC West. Kurt, are they a playoff team? Do they look like a playoff team to you?
Well, I think the thing about the Rams is that they're not overly impressive with big plays, but they've been consistent. And I think that's the key for this kind of team, is that I don't think they're going to go in and ever wow anybody. I don't think they're at that point this season. But over the last 6 games, not turning the ball over, playing good, solid defense, being efficient, I think those are the things that they need to do to end up winning this division. And then once they get in, you never know what can happen at that point.
Steven Jackson carries, and Steven Jackson fights hard inside the 5-yard line. You get the impression, too, that at some point they can unleash Sam Bradford, even though that's, it's that Eagles-style hunt and peck offense, but they can go down the field at some point.
Well, and I get the impression that it's not really Sam Bradford that they're worried about. I think all the moving parts that they've had on the outside with their receivers, they're still trying to get a feel for what they can do and what their strengths are. I believe, just talking to the coaches and Sam's teammates, is that they have full confidence that he can do whatever they ask him to do, that he's got the ability to make plays, he's got the arm, he understands what he's seeing. They're just waiting for everybody else to catch up to where he's at.
1:15 and counting. Steven Jackson carries, and the Cardinals bring him down at the 10-yard line. And time permitting, we hope you'll stay with us on Fox. We're going to take you to Indianapolis, where the Colts and the Cowboys are playing a wild game, tied at 35 in the late stages of that game, and maybe headed to overtime. So again, time permitting here, we'll take you to that game. And again, the Seahawks up big on Carolina, 31-14. So they will get their 6th win of the year if that holds up. And the tiebreaker, the Rams already beat the Seahawks. They'll play each other, as we mentioned, at the end of the year up in Seattle. That is likely to decide the NFC West on 3rd and goal. Jackson brought down again. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Desperate game for the Colts, and they're playing like it against the Cowboys. Down by a touchdown. Javaris James gets his 2nd of the game to tie it at 35 with 10 seconds remaining in regulation. Now, time permitting, we'll take you to the conclusion of that one in Indy. Chris and Kurt.
And time permitting here, they're going to let the clock run out. The Rams no need to force the football forward, as they will get their 6th victory of the year. 19-6, the final score. Leaders in the NFC West, and we'll come back here in Arizona to wrap things up and take you to more NFL action. You're watching the NFL on Fox.